You don't need to become a creative storyteller to give a memorable research talk, because the truth is, your research already is a story. The problem is most researchers were taught to present it like a journal article instead. So what happens? You start at the beginning, you overload the background, you hide the parts that didn't work. And by the time you finally reveal the important result, the audience is either exhausted or already has tuned out. But the best research talks do something different. They create tension. They raise questions. They let us experience the uncertainty of discovery. And that's what makes people remember the work. So in this video, I want to walk you through 5 storytelling rules specifically for researchers. Not fiction writing tricks, not TED Talk performance advice, but practical ways to structure your research so people actually follow it, people actually understand it, people actually remember it long after your talk is over, and so that it increases rather than undermines your credibility. Okay, so here are those 5 rules specifically for researchers. Rule number 1, it's not fiction. Your research already is a story. A good story at its essence is simply a series of meaningful events, a few characters, a challenge to overcome, an outcome. Your research already has those things. So don't get confused about this. When I say research presentation should be a story, it's because the story already exists. What journal articles do is erase the story so people can access the information in any way they want. But that's not what's happening in a presentation. What's happening as a presentation is you as the speaker, you get to decide how and what information people will access about what happened. And that's called storytelling. So stop equating storytelling with fiction. Don't think sharing your research as story means inserting a story. That's not it at all. So this is the first step of understanding how to tell a better research story. Tell the one that already exists. Rule number 2, don't start in the beginning. Start where there's some tension. Raise some questions. The audience will then feel the need to know. The need to have questions answered is a powerful psychological phenomenon. Human brains hate incomplete information loops. Open those information loops, and people will not only stay engaged listening, but also feel gratitude as you answer their questions. I call this the A&Q Method and talk more about it in my digital course. It's simply about capturing attention, getting people to lean in, and making them want to learn more. Some people think about it as a hook, as if the relationship with their audience is to bait them into paying attention, but it's really not this at all. It's simply about sharing something that sparks curiosity and a desire to hear the rest of the story. Somewhere in your research that exists. Go find it and start there. Rule number 3, don't exclude the part that didn't work the way you thought it would. Surprise is a powerful stimulus and serves to increase memory retention. But more importantly, most people avoid the part that didn't work because they're afraid it will negatively impact their credibility. But that's only if you pick a part you should have known wouldn't work. If it's a surprise it didn't work, and then you had to figure out a way to solve the issue, it's this point you can actually demonstrate your rigor, demonstrate your credibility, demonstrate your commitment to science, where what you then changed increases your credibility. People are more likely to give you credibility when they see why you do things, not just what you did. And in this case, you get a double hit because you've also shown how you problem solve. Number 4, share credit along the way. Don't make the story just about what you did and how you solved every problem. Embed within the story the knowledge and ideas upon which your research builds. This actually becomes much more natural as you don't start in the beginning with all that background and finish with, thanks to my lab without whom I could not have done this work. When you start in the middle, you can then bring in background as things you needed to figure out that other people taught you. And as you go through the ups and downs and the roller coaster of the research process with things that don't work, you can include the advice from peers and other people in your lab, conversations you had with them that were helpful. Number 5, celebrate the key result as a climactic moment. Set the stage beforehand about what it could be, what it could look like, and the different possibilities. And then unveil it as a moment. The result really is the climactic moment in your research journey. You need to treat it that way. Combined with number 2, this gives your talk at least 2 significant ebbs and flows. One where something didn't quite work the way you thought it should, and you detailed some important methodological shift to overcome the issue. And this other, the final result. If you're starting to see here all the elements of a research talk, background, methodology, results, discussion, good for you. Yes, they're all here. They're just packaged differently. And it's this packaging differently, packaging as the story that it actually already is, that makes all the difference. All right, so there are your 5 rules. Understand your research as story, and storytelling not as fiction, but simply as an engaging way to share what is true. Start someplace interesting. That will trigger questions. Answer those questions. Don't avoid setbacks. Instead, choose ones that allow you to showcase juncture points where the pivots made can demonstrate deep knowledge and deep rigor. 4, share your credit along the way. Not simply as a required thank you at the end. Credit sharing done creates additional moments for audiences to triangulate credibility, makes you a more likable character. 5, make the climactic event, usually the unveiling of your main result, climactic. Stories need a high point. In most research talk, sharing the result is the best one. Now, before we go, I'll give you one more as a bonus. This one's about delivery. It's a key focus of the digital course I teach and a component when you actually go to share your talk. And the point is simply this. When you narrate specific parts of your story, do it within the story, not from 10,000 feet. One big difference between a journal article and a research presentation is you're there in person, you're sharing. And because you're doing this, it's a totally unique opportunity for us to see and hear how you feel about the work you're doing. And this seeing and hearing is what allows us to experience it in a unique way that a journal article will never be able to do. Do this, and you'll be the person people want to listen to, because they learn more than they otherwise could. This is one of the fundamental great powers of stories. They're not just data, but they're human experiences. When you embrace rather than shy away from this, your research presentation will be one of the best at the conference and one of the ones people remember. And when you do that, not only does the impact of your research increase, but opportunities for your career open up. And ultimately, the story we all want to be able to someday tell is how our research has made a difference and how we have made a difference. And one of the best ways to accomplish those goals is to better understand story and storytelling, not as fiction, but as the way people can best understand what it is you do and how you did it and the difference it can make. And that's a story we can all embrace.